If this video has found its way to you, pay close attention. This is not a mere algorithmic coincidence. Rather, it is an authentic calling, a resonant echo from the depths of your soul, which, exhausted by the prolonged wait, has catalyzed the emergence of this precise moment. Don't you sense that subtle yet unmistakable feeling that the existence you are currently leading isn't truly yours? Don't you feel that heaviness in your chest, that deep-seated certainty that you were destined for something great, yet you find yourself trapped in a seemingly endless cycle? It is imperative to understand that this prison is illusory, a mental construct with no basis in ultimate reality. Your future self, that version of yourself who has already achieved liberation, is now projecting a key to salvation through this message, a key imbued with profound wisdom. The ancient Egyptians, guided by the deity Thoth, the architect of reality and divine scribe, were perfectly aware that this premonitory sensation was the first and unmistakable sign of an imminent spiritual awakening. With their keen insight, they have handed down to us a veritable initiatory manual for navigating this transitional phase. The first and most crucial instruction contained in this hermetic compendium is peremptory. Do not fight. The anxiety and confusion you currently experience are not your adversaries at all. Rather, they represent the first, inevitable tremors of your old reality, which is disintegrating, fragmenting to make room for the emergence of a new existential dimension. Stay tuned, for in the next crucial minutes, I will reveal precisely how to use this chaotic and seemingly destabilizing energy to your advantage. At the end of this journey, you will not only fully understand what is happening within you, but you will also receive the first practical and tangible tool, a gift from Thoth, designed to accelerate this epical inner transformation. It is a truth without falsity, certain and most true. What is below is like what is above, and what is above is like what is below, to perform the miracles of one. And as all things come from the One, through the meditation of the One, so all things are born from this one essence, through adaptation. For those who perceive the beginning of this journey as a profound and authentic resonance, we invite you to express your approval with an immediate like of this content. Your gesture, far from being a mere digital interaction, will be tangible proof of spiritual attunement for us, a clear sign that the seed of awareness is sprouting within you too, awakening ancient truths. This action will reveal to us that our words have struck a chord within you, indicating that you are perfectly attuned to the frequency of this transformation. At the same time, with the same gentleness and reverence, we extend a special invitation. Please consider subscribing to our channel. This is not a simple subscription, but a deeper commitment, an act of support that will allow us to continue cultivating this sacred garden of knowledge, sharing high-quality content that nourishes the soul and awakens consciousness. Your subscription is an essential contribution, a bridge to the continuation of this valuable work, and will be a confirmation for us that you share the vision of a world where inner growth and spiritual enlightenment are supreme values. The tension now throbbing in your chest, this silent struggle you wage daily between burning hope and threatening doubt, is the first, authentic, and tangible symptom of the alchemical process known as solve et coagula. This is the sacred rite of dissolving the old, the lead of your most deeply rooted limitations and fears, so that the new, the purest gold of your truest essence, can finally take shape and solidify into a tangible reality. Far from being a crisis, this moment represents the inaugural and most crucial key to your activation, the dawning of a silent war raging within you. This tension is not a mere disturbance. It is the epicenter of an intimate conflict you face every day, the fundamental conflict between your deepest intuition and your rational logic. This battle, which might appear to be a flaw in your being, is not a flaw at all. On the contrary, it is a central theme in the age-old hermetic doctrines, a cosmic dance intrinsic to the balance between heart and mind. Your intuition, that calm and discreet voice that grants you an inexplicable certainty, that subtle thrill that confirms a truth even before tangible evidence manifests, is what Thoth, scribe of the gods and keeper of knowledge, called the voice of the soul. It represents your direct connection to universal wisdom, a form of communication that transcends linear reason and the limitations of the conditioned mind. The Kybalion, a pivotal hermetic text, illustrates this dynamic through the principle of gender, teaching that everything in the universe contains both the masculine and feminine principles. Your logic, your ability to reason, your ability to analyze and plan belong to the masculine principle. Your intuition, your creativity, your ability to perceive and connect with the unseen are manifestations of the feminine principle. The profound exhaustion you experience, that tiredness that no amount of coffee can dispel, is the direct consequence of a profound imbalance, in which your masculine side, the logical mind, desperately seeks to dominate, control, and suppress your feminine side, namely your intuition. This imbalance generates a constant waste of vital energy. In effect, you're using your own life force to fight against yourself. Every time your intuition points you toward a path, and your mind sabotages it with doubts, fears, and the need for assurances, you squander precious energy that could be used to manifest the life you ardently desire. Attempting to analyze a miracle, to dissect magic, to confine the infinite to a mere spreadsheet, inevitably leads to paralysis, the frustration of perceiving immense potential within you but being unable to manifest it in the physical world. Reflect on the synchronicities that have manifested themselves in your life: recurring numbers, unexpected encounters, the right word heard at the right time. Your intuition recognizes them as signs, like breadcrumbs left by your future self to guide you. But your logical mind, trained in skepticism, quickly dismisses them as mere coincidences, as baseless magical thinking. This internal war between feeling and doubt is what keeps you stuck in the same place, exhausted and confused, questioning your own sanity while your soul cries out, trying to show you the way. The truth is, your intuition has never lied to you. It is the frequency of your future already vibrating within your cells, a beacon guiding you through the fog of illusion. The problem is that we have been raised to trust only what we can see and touch, to devalue wisdom that doesn't come from books or conventional science. You've been trained to believe that your rational mind is the ultimate authority, when in reality it's merely a tool, and a limited one, never designed to understand the language of the soul. However, this intuition, this frequency of your future, is gaining ever greater strength for a very specific reason. It is intensifying as your body, your physical vessel, is undergoing a profound and invisible upgrade. The pressure you feel isn't exclusively emotional or psychological. It's a physical, almost electric sensation that envelopes you. You are literally treading a quantum corridor, a transition space between your old reality and the new one that is about to emerge, a true metamorphic crossroads. This physical pressure, this anxiety and impatience that seems to arise from nowhere is not a sign of malfunction. On the contrary, it is the growing pains of your soul. Imagine the seed of a giant sequoia. Before it can become the majestic tree it is destined to be, it must first break through the hard shell that protects it. That breaking is a violent act, filled with immense pressure. You are in this exact process. This quantum corridor you are immersed in represents the modern description of the first phase of the great alchemical work, known as nigredo. It is the phase of obscuration, of putrefaction, where the raw material, your old identity, is dissolved and broken down so it can be purified. It is an inherently chaotic and uncomfortable process, as you are essentially running two operating systems simultaneously. The old system, based on fear, control, and survival, is still active, consuming most of your energy. Meanwhile, the new system, founded on flow, trust, and intuition, is quietly installing itself in the background. The result is an energetic short circuit. Mental confusion, inexplicable fatigue, the feeling of being pulled in two opposite directions at once. Alchemists called this phenomenon the coexistence of the old and the new. This is why relationships, jobs, and habits that were once tolerable have now become unbearable. It's not that you're becoming intolerant or rejecting the world. It's your vibrational frequency that's increasing. And, according to the principle of vibration, two highly dissonant frequencies cannot occupy the same space for long. Everything that can't vibrate at your new frequency is naturally, and sometimes painfully, expelled from your energy field. Life isn't punishing you. It's simply showing you what can no longer walk through the next door with you. This natural cleansing can be frightening. Friends drift away, old passions lose their luster, and the path that once seemed safe now feels like a prison. You may feel alone and misunderstood, as if no one else is going through this. But understand that this solitude is temporary and necessary. It is the sacred space that the universe creates so that you can reconnect with your true essence, without the interference and projections of the outside world. It is the silence you need to finally hearing your own voice. The feeling of being paralyzed, of being unable to move forward despite all your efforts, is also part of this process. And it's not stagnation, it's recalibration. Your system is undergoing such a profound upgrade that it needs to suspend certain functions to redirect all available energy toward internal transformation. And you're not failing. You're in full metamorphosis. The caterpillar inside the cocoon isn't inactive. It's dissolving completely to become a butterfly. You are in your cocoon, and the pressure you feel is the force building your wings. This clash of realities within you, the friction between who you were and who you're becoming, creates a deafening noise in your mind and body. Most people spend their entire lives trying to fight this noise, attempting to silence it with distractions, medications, or denial. But the great secret of activating Thoth, the key to crossing this corridor, is not fighting it. It's applying the principle of polarity in a much simpler and profoundly counterintuitive way, which completely changes the rules of the game. The counterintuitive application of the polarity principle is to stop fighting the internal noise and, instead, direct your attention with deliberate intention toward the melody you wish to hear. The innermost truth, the essence of the first hermetic principle, the principle of mentalism, states that all is mind, the universe is mental. This implies that your reality is not a solid construction external to you, but an intrinsic projection of your own consciousness. Your future, the life you ardently dream of, is not something you have to build brick by brick. It already exists as a vibrational possibility in the quantum field, similar to a radio station broadcasting a perfect signal. Your task is not to build the radio station, but simply to tune your receiver. The din of doubt, fear, and anxiety is not an enemy to be overcome to defeat. It is merely the static from other stations broadcasting in the same area, and trying to fight the static is a futile and exhausting effort. True mastery, as taught by Thoth, lies in becoming so deeply focused on the music you desire to hear that the static naturally becomes irrelevant. It doesn't cease to exist, but it loses its power over you because your attention is elsewhere. Your attention is the most valuable currency in the universe. It is creative energy. Where you direct your focus, your energy flows, and where your energy flows, reality begins to crystallize. For years, you have been trained to focus your attention on problems, fears, and scarcity. And consequently, your reality has reflected exactly that. This moment marks a crucial turning point. It is the end of the endless search for further external knowledge and the beginning of the journey of direct experience, a wisdom perceived and embodied in the body. You don't need another technique, another book, or another guru. You already possess all the necessary knowledge. What's missing is the conscious application of your power of focus. Imagine being at a noisy party, with dozens of conversations going on simultaneously. If you choose to focus on a single conversation with someone you care about, all the rest of the noise fades into the background. You didn't need to shout for silence. You simply chose where to place your attention. And the same principle applies to your internal reality. This paradigm shift is liberating. You are not a victim of circumstances, but the conductor of your own perception. You don't control what the world presents to you, but you do have absolute control over how you respond internally. By deliberately choosing to focus on the feeling of peace, gratitude, or love, even for just a brief moment, you are shifting your vibrational tuning point. You are saying to the universe, "This is the frequency I choose. This is the reality I want to experience. This is the beginning of your energetic sovereignty." You cease to be a drifting boat, tossed by the waves of collective chaos, and become the captain of your own ship, with a steady rudder in your hands, your attention. The task now is not to acquire further knowledge, but to unlearn the habit of fighting and relearn the art of listening, of precisely tuning into this new frequency. You don't need an external map to show you the way. The age of maps has come to an end. What you need is a navigational tool already installed within you, which we will now activate by learning to decode its unique and infallible language. To activate and utilize this tool, the needle of the inner compass, you must learn to discern its expressions. Distinguishing between the voice of the ego, or the conditioned mind, and the signal of the soul is the first practice of mastery. The voice of the ego is always peremptory, pressing, anxious, and burdensome. It expresses itself in terms of I should, I can't, it's impossible, and is based on past fears and catastrophic future projections. The signal of the soul, by contrast, is faint, serene, constant, and expansive. Even when it points in a direction that frightens the ego, it carries with it an intrinsic sense of peace and rightness, a resonance you feel throughout your being. Your body is the most precise oracle in existence, operating under the infallible hermetic principle of correspondence. As above, so below. This means that a truth from the higher spiritual plane will always have a corresponding reflection on the lower physical plane. A truth coming from your soul, aligned with love and expansion, will manifest in your body as a feeling of openness, relaxation, and lightness. A falsehood, aligned with fear and limitation, will manifest as contraction, tension, a knot in the stomach, or a weight on the shoulders. The practical and immediate tool for using this oracle is to ask yourself a simple question when faced with any choice, thought, or situation. Does this expand or contract me? Let the answer come not from your mind, which will try to analyze and justify, but from your body. Feel the answer. Your body cannot be fooled by logic. It responds only to vibration. Trusting these somatic cues is the first step toward anchoring your faith, not in external evidence, but in your inner compass, which is your uninterrupted connection to universal wisdom. It's crucial to understand that your soul's guidance won't manifest as a detailed 5-year plan. It operates with divine simplicity, offering one clear step at a time. This acts as a safety mechanism, ensuring your nervous system isn't overwhelmed by too much information. The mind desires the complete map to feel secure, but the soul invites you to trust the journey, one step at a time, illuminating only the next stretch of road. This trust in the gradual process is a cornerstone of initiated alchemy, which understands that real, lasting transformation doesn't happen overnight. As you begin to honor these small yes and nos emanating from your body, you will trigger a powerful feedback loop with the universe. Each time you choose expansion over contraction, you will strengthen your soul's signal and weaken the ego's grip. You are, in essence, training yourself to live from a new command center. It may seem subtle at first, but with practice, the voice of your soul will become increasingly clear, and the voice of fear will become more distant. But be warned, as you learn to use this compass and follow its guidance, discomfort may paradoxically increase for a time. And herein lies the greatest secret and the greatest proof of this process. This growing pain is not a sign that you are on the wrong path, but irrefutable proof that the activation is working, and your old self, sensing it is losing control, will do absolutely everything to stop you and return you to the familiar old prison. This increased discomfort is the very essence of the alchemy of transformation. Pain is not a sign of failure. It is proof that the lead of your limited and conditioned consciousness is truly subjected to the purifying fire of awareness. It is the heat necessary for the transmutation into gold, your expanded and authentic consciousness. Every surge of anxiety, every wave of irritation with your old life is the sound of metal twisting in the fire, changing shape. It's crucial to understand that pain, in this context, is an unmistakable indicator of progress, not regression. Ego death, or more precisely, the dissolution of your old identity, is the source of this resistance. Imagine this old self as a loyal but deeply fearful guard who for years protected you in an environment it perceived as hostile. Now, it senses a new force, a new frequency, rising from within you and interprets it as an existential threat. In a desperate attempt to maintain control and safety in the familiar territory, it turns up the volume on the static to maximum. Your deepest fears, your oldest insecurities, the familiar voice of self-criticism and doubt. The key to navigating this phase is not to declare war on this guard. Fighting it, in fact, only gives it greater strength, as you are feeding it with your energy and attention. The hermetic wisdom approach is far more elegant. It does not aim to destroy the ego, but to place it at the service of the soul. The technique consists of acknowledging the presence of this frightened guard, thanking it for its vigilance and for keeping you safe until now, and then, with love and firmness, informing it that a new leadership has taken over. You are not killing a part of yourself, but promoting it to a new role, under wiser direction. This shift in perspective is the transmutation of fear into vigilance and resistance into strength. You will begin to perceive panic attacks or waves of doubt, not as evidence of your inadequacy, but as the last groans of a collapsing regime. Instead of identifying with fear, you become its compassionate observer. This simple shift in posture removes the power of automatic reaction and brings you back to the center of your being, as the master of your inner home. Use the analogy of shoes that have become too tight. As your feet grow, your old shoes start to hurt. Pain isn't a problem with your feet. It's evidence of your growth. Likewise, the pain you're experiencing in your life now isn't a sign that you're broken, but rather evidence that your soul has expanded and no longer fits into the old structures, relationships, and beliefs that once served you. Pain is your navigation system telling you, you've grown, it's time to find new shoes. To vividly illustrate the essence of this transformation, I'll tell you a short tale. In a remote village, deep in the valleys, lived a young weaver named Alara. Her fingers were expert at working the strongest threads and the most intricate designs, but her true aspiration was to weave with light itself, creating cloths that vibrated with invisible colors and silent melodies. Everyone mocked her, for light cannot be spun or touched, but Alara did not give up. Every night, in the moonlight, she tried to capture the silvery rays, but in vain. Frustration grew, a knot in her heart, until one day, exhausted, she fell asleep under an ancient tree. In a dream, an ancient owl, a messenger of Thoth, appeared to her and whispered, "You cannot weave light from the threads of the earth. You must first become the light, so that the threads themselves can transform into rays. Be the source, not just the artisan." When she awoke, Alara understood. It wasn't a matter of technique, but of essence. She stopped struggling to capture external light and began cultivating the light within, through meditation and kindness. Slowly, her aura brightened, and one day, while working at the loom, she was amazed to see her ordinary threads glow with a light of their own, weaving patterns that danced and sang. The light was no longer a goal to be achieved, but her very nature. This is the lesson. Your body is the loom, and your consciousness is the weaver. You don't seek the light, you become the light. Calming the mind and negotiating with the ego is an essential part of the equation. However, the mind alone is not the place where the new reality truly takes root. For this new frequency of peace and expansion to become not just a temporary peak of well-being, but above all your new permanent and stable reality, it is imperative to bring the activation to the only place where matter is recreated, where spirit is embodied, and where vibration becomes biology, namely your body. This is the somatic connection, and it is your point of arrival for the future in the tangible. This is the culmination of your journey, the pinnacle where the promise hidden in the title finds its full realization. The Thoth activation is not a mere intellectual concept to be understood. It is an embodiment to be fully lived. Your body is not simply a vehicle for your head. It is your subconscious library, the living testimony of every experience, trauma, and belief you have ever had. In alchemy, the body is known as the Athanor, the sacred furnace where the true transmutation of lead into gold occurs. Without the furnace, the formula, however perfect, remains mere theory. The process of somatic re-education is, therefore, the act of purifying and preparing this furnace. For years, your nervous system has learned to equate the familiar with the safe. Even if the familiar was a state of chronic stress, anxiety, or scarcity, the new frequency of your soul, imbued with peace, expansion, and trust, is unfamiliar territory for your biology. The resistance you feel, the tension in your shoulders, the lump in your throat, is your body, in its loyalty to the past, attempting to reject the threat of the unknown. Thoth, as the Lord of magic and architect of reality, knew that every lasting manifestation must be anchored in the physical plane. The soil analogy is perfect. Your mind may contain the seed of the most magnificent tree, but if the soil of your body is hard, dry, and full of weeds, chronic tension, and traumatic memories, the seed will never be able to germinate. The true activation of Thoth, the secret to effecting change, is this: consciously using the tools of breath and heightened emotions to rewrite your body's survival codes. You must actively teach your body, at the cellular level, that your soul's frequency is the new and true synonym for safety. It's a process of creating new neural pathways, of showing your nervous system that it's safe to relax, safe to open up, safe to trust. This is the sacred union of heaven and earth within you. The clear intention of your future self, heaven, being planted and nurtured in the fertile soil of your physical, receptive body, earth. This is the great alchemical work taking place in real time within your very skin. When you do this, transformation ceases to be an idea and becomes your biology. Peace is no longer something you chase, but something your body radiates. Confidence is no longer a mental effort, but the default state of your nervous system. You stop trying to think positively and begin to be positive at the cellular level. External reality, which is always a reflection of your internal state, has no choice but to begin reorganizing itself to mirror this newly anchored vibration. This re-education of the body, this purification of the athanor, is not achieved through willpower or positive thinking. Thought is the language of the mind, but vibration is the language of the body. Therefore, it is achieved with precise biological tools that Thoth, the master architect of reality, knew and taught. The first, most powerful, and most accessible of all these tools is your breath, but not in the automatic and superficial way you use it every day. Conscious breathing is the oldest, simplest, and most powerful hermetic technology available to humanity. In the Emerald Tablets, Thoth speaks of breath not as a mere biological process, but as the breath of life, the physical vehicle that transports the cosmic force, the universal life energy, into our being. When you inhale consciously and deeply, you're not just drawing air into your lungs. You're drawing in prana, the invisible substance from which all creation is made. And when you exhale slowly, you're not just releasing carbon dioxide, but also dense energies, stagnant thoughts, and toxic emotions trapped in your field. Beyond breath, emotion represents the great amplifier of your vibrational frequency. Elevated emotions, such as gratitude, joy, and love, are not vague and intangible perceptions. Rather, they are measurable and intrinsically powerful electromagnetic signatures. In the alchemical context, elevated emotion is known as the secret fire, the catalytic agent that dramatically accelerates the process of transmutation. When you deliberately choose to experience gratitude for your future, as if it were already a tangible reality, you are performing an extraordinary action. You are aligning the vibration of your cells with laser precision to the frequency of the reality you wish to manifest. By practicing conscious breathing and cultivating elevated emotions, you connect to something even greater and more pervasive. You become an anchor in a vast planetary network of coherence. The principle of correspondence, as within, so without, applies on a global scale. Every time you choose peace over panic, every time your heart fills with gratitude, you're not simply healing yourself. You're sending a wave of coherence into the unified field of human consciousness, contributing to the upliftment of the entire planet. Your personal healing is, paradoxically, an act of planetary service. Mastery lies in living as the frequency itself. The art of integration is the final test of the initiate, the moment when the wisdom of the temple must be applied to the hustle and bustle of daily life. How do you maintain inner peace when your boss is yelling at you? How do you sustain your abundance frequency when an unexpected bill arrives? This is where theory meets practice. Mastery isn't measured by your ability to levitate in a cave, but by your ability to stay centered amidst traffic, family arguments, and daily pressures. When you stabilize your new frequency, the universe sends you the final tests. This is what we call quantum echoes. Old behavioral patterns, dramas you thought you'd overcome, and even people from your past can suddenly resurface. It's crucial not to interpret this as a setback or a sign that the transformation has failed. On the contrary, an echo exists only because the sound the original has already faded. These apparitions are evidence that your old radio station is fading, sending out its last signals before falling silent forever. Each of these echoes is a golden opportunity to practice your mastery. Instead of reacting automatically as you would have in the past, you now have a choice. And the tool to make that choice is a simple and powerful question you should ask yourself the moment a trigger arises. How would my future self, the version of me already living in peace, power, and integrity, respond to this situation? This question instantly pulls you out of the ego's reactive survival mode and elevates you into the wise and compassionate perspective of your soul. By invoking the wisdom of your higher genius, a central concept in many esoteric traditions, you cease to be an actor in the drama and become the director of the scene. You transform every challenge into an opportunity to consciously choose the gold of peace over the lead of reactivity. Thoth teaches in his writings that true wisdom is not what a person knows, but how they live. This stage of the journey is precisely about transforming intellectual knowledge into living wisdom, embodied in every breath, every word, and every action. You'll begin to notice that the same situations that once unsettled you for days now pass by you like a cloud in the sky. You observe them, acknowledge them, but no longer identify with them. You develop a kind of energetic immunity to drama and negativity. Not because you've become cold or indifferent, but because your base frequency has become so stable and coherent that lower vibrations simply no longer resonate within you. Navigating the echoes with grace is a daily practice, but the ultimate goal of this journey is total sovereignty. It's becoming the conscious and unwavering guardian of your new reality, a position of power where you no longer react to the world, but create it from within. But this requires one final act, the most significant and powerful of all. A declaration of energetic independence that seals your liberation from the ancient matrix. This declaration is not formulated with mere words, but is a profound energetic commitment, woven into the most intimate fibers of your being. It is the culminating moment in which the initiate, who until then had been walking the path, becomes the adept, that is, the path itself. It is your resolute and unwavering decision to never abandon yourself again, to honor the seed of light that has been planted and activated within you, and, from this day forward, to nurture your energetic field through conscious choices, moment by moment. You become the guardian of your own inner garden. And here is the great revelation, the conclusion of this entire mystery. Thoth's activation was never about receiving power from an external entity. Rather, it was about the awakening of the Thoth within, the archetype of the divine magician, the master of reality, who has always resided as a latent potential within you. You have received nothing that was not already intrinsically yours. You have simply received the instruction manual for your unlimited creative power, a manual that had remained hidden and forgotten for millennia. The final call to action, therefore, is not to do more. The phase of doing, of fighting, of seeking has come to an end. The call is now to be, to radiate. The ultimate purpose of the great alchemical work is not just to create gold, but to allow the gold to shine. Once the transmutation is complete, the nature of gold is simply to shine, effortlessly illuminating all around it. Your peace, now anchored in your biology, becomes a frequency that harmonizes your environment. Your joy becomes a living, infectious testimony to the truth that transformation is real. You become the proof. You stop talking about the light and become the light itself. Your very existence becomes a message of hope and possibility for all those still trapped in the darkness of illusion. You no longer need to convince anyone of anything. Your energy speaks for itself. The right people will be naturally drawn to your field, and those who don't resonate with your new frequency will drift away without drama or conflict, by a simple law of vibrational physics. We have reached the threshold of a new beginning, a space-time gap where old frequencies fade and the vibration of your authentic self resonates with unprecedented power. If these words have danced deep within your soul, leaving an indelible echo, if you have felt the flame of recognition ignite within you, then we ask you to express your gratitude and your awakening. Like on this video is a heartbeat that resonates with ours, a silent yes to the universe. And if you wish to continue this boundless exploration, we invite you to comment with the word alias, a neologism that evokes transmutation and the beginning of a new personal era, allowing us to recognize soulmates who vibrate at the same frequency. Share this message like a beacon in the fog, illuminating the path of those still seeking, and subscribe to our channel to become an integral part of an ever-expanding community dedicated to awakening and inner mastery. Your support is precious nourishment for this seeding of awareness, a gesture of love that allows us to continue weaving threads of light for the world. And remember, your premium subscription is not just an act of support, but a bridge that elevates the quality of our mission, allowing us to explore ever broader horizons for your growth. We thank you from the depths of our souls for walking this initiatory journey with us. May every step be imbued with light, every choice guided by the wisdom of the heart, and may your life blossom into a symphony of abundance and joy. With infinite gratitude and a deep wish for your splendor, we greet you as the guardian of your divine essence. See you soon.